What is going on? It is Nate the Game Guy coming back with another video at hand, and today I want to talk to you guys about some of my biggest regrets as a game collector. Now, I've been a game collector for a pretty long time. I'm truly passionate about this hobby, and I not only do collect games, but I do play some of the games that I do own in the collection, right? But I will say, even though I really do enjoy this hobby, not every decision that I've made has been the best, whether it's the things that I have done or haven't done. So I want to talk about some of those things in this video with some of my biggest regrets as a game collector and share them with you guys. So without further ado, let's jump right into this video subject right after the intro. Alright, so I want to start things off strong with the start of this video with some of my biggest regrets when it comes to collecting games, and that is getting some of my games complete in box. I know a bunch of you are already thinking, wait, what? You regret collecting games complete in box? There's some of them that, yes, I actually do regret collecting complete in box. Let me elaborate. So when it comes to my Super Nintendo collection and my Nintendo 64 collection, some of them are loose. The majority of my Super Nintendo collection, unless if you want to count the Super Famicom, is in fact loose, while some of my Nintendo 64 games are complete in box. And if you haven't seen my video where I talk about whether you should or shouldn't collect games complete in box, I'll give a link somewhere right here where you guys can check out, where I go a little bit more in depth with the subject. But here's a little rule of thumb that I have with my personal game collection. When it comes to games that are in actual cases that are meant to be used as storage, I do collect complete in box. And also with Genesis games, I do collect them complete in box. However, with games that are mostly cartridge based, such as Game Boy Advance, Nintendo 64, Super Nintendo, I do not collect complete in box for them. Why? Is because the boxes that those games came in were not meant to be used for storage. They were meant to be used as just the packaging that the game would come in, and once you would open up the game, you would throw the package away. I'm not saying that I would never collect complete in box for Nintendo 64 and Super Nintendo, but I'm not going to go out of my way to go collect complete in box for something that isn't really durable for long-term storage. You know, the creasing happens when you open and close the box. You know, it's flimsy. You know, like I said, it wasn't made for long-term storage. It's not like a case for, like, right here with PS3, right? This was made to, you know, put your game in and store it, right? Unfortunately, Nintendo was not thinking that way when it came to some of their games. Sega was ahead when they went with the Genesis games, with how it came in the clamshell box where you would open it up, you pop the game in, you'd have your manual, all that stuff. Sega made things right when it came with their cases. These were built for long-term storage. Nintendo did not. So basically, with my regret is, I used to do was try to collect for Nintendo 64 only complete in box, but then as I learned a little bit more about collecting for the console itself, along with kind of the mindset of Nintendo was going with these boxes, I kind of was like, wait, I could have bought a whole bunch of these games for a lot less if only I just got them cart only. So that is my first regret, is collecting some of my games complete in box. So another regret of mine as a game collector over the years is collecting for game consoles that weren't necessarily my 100% favorite. So what do I mean by this? I'll give a little context. Several years ago, I really wanted to try to find some deals for games. I went to yard sales, I went to thrift stores, estate sales, looked through local deals off of Craigslist, OfferUp, and LetGo when LetGo used to be a thing. And I was trying to basically find just games to add to the collection. And I really wanted to add especially GameCube. Unfortunately, GameCube is not really easy to collect for if you're on a budget. And I remember seeing a quote from the immortal John Hancock that said, if everybody is going right, for you to go left. Basically what that meant was if everybody's going for the more collectible game consoles and such, go for the ones that aren't necessarily collectible, at least not yet. So when I was going to a lot of thrift stores and all that wonderful stuff, when I wasn't finding GameCube games, I was picking up PS2 and original Xbox. And don't get me wrong, PS2 and original Xbox are both great consoles. But unfortunately with me, my personal favorite out of those was the GameCube from 6th generation. Essentially, it took up a lot of space, and it kind of went against another thing that I would sometimes talk about on the channel, and that is don't collect stuff just to fill up space. Where essentially I ended up with so many PS2 games and original Xbox games where I ran out of room. And I don't know if you guys seen the video of me where I was talking about downsizing my collection, but I decided to do was pack away a bunch of PS2 games. They're still in the collection, they're just not out on display. And I would consider getting a complete original Xbox set one day just because I do like the original Xbox. But I will say, as a generality, you may want to take my whole story into consideration too. Is just because, say Xbox One, PS4, PS2, PS3, 360, right? All those consoles are cheaper to collect for. Yes, you can get a lot more games, but you also kind of have to judge too what works best for you, because some of you guys may not have extra room to pack away things if you're running out of space. It really depends on what exactly works best for you with your situation, with your game collection. So that is another regret of mine, was kind of going for games that I wasn't necessarily 100% in favor of. As dumb as it may sound, I do have to talk about the truth when I'm talking about some of my regrets in this video. Now, of course, I do have to talk about this regret, and that is that I didn't go hunting for deals much sooner. So what do I mean by this? Several years ago, I used to just shop only at game stores, such as GameStop, local mom and pop game stores, and I would also shop on eBay for my game collection. There's nothing wrong if you guys shop for your video games that way. There's nothing wrong with that at all. I still do that, especially with shopping online for games. However, when it comes to trying to get games for the best deal possible with spending those just as little money as possible, obviously thrift stores, garage sales, all that stuff, that's where you're going to find deals for your game collection. And when I was starting out as a game collector, that's all I just did was go to game stores and eBay. Again, nothing wrong with that at all. However, even though I knew always in the back of my mind, people get stuff for cheap all the time at garage sales and thrift stores. That's just part of what they are. And I don't know, there just something wasn't clicking in my mind at the time where I was like, maybe I should start looking at these places to get some deals on games. And it wasn't until many years ago when I stumbled across CJR, where he was showing off some of his pickup videos at garage sales. And I was like, man, why didn't I do this earlier? So, yeah. Obviously, over the years, I have found some deals at yard sales with games. I've personally stopped going to yard sales just because in my area, you just have like people who are like, know what their stuff is worth, and they're selling their Xbox 360 for $200 when it's like only worth about 60 to 80 online. And I've personally stopped at shopping at thrift stores too, just because I don't really feel like paying $8 for a copy of Kinect Adventures. But I will say, depending on if you're a thrift store or your local yard sales, if they offer you better deals, that is the best way to go. But of course, if you want to play things safe and just know that guaranteed you're going to find video games each time, they're going to be checked, tested, hopefully before they go on the shelf. Of course, you can always go to your local game shop. But yeah, that's just another regret of mine, was that I didn't think of this stuff earlier. Yard sales, thrift stores, Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, right? Why didn't I think of that earlier? If only I thought about that earlier, imagine all the deals I would have been able to add to my game collection. Alright, and that'll conclude my video for some of my biggest regrets as a game collector. What do you guys think? Do you happen to have any regrets yourself when it comes to game collecting or being a game collector? Feel free to comment in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say when it comes to some of your regrets when game collecting. Of course, please do consider giving the video a like. Helps boost it up into the YouTube algorithm so more viewers such as you can find videos just like this. But if you're going to hit that like button, don't forget to subscribe so that way you will be able to see all the content that I put up when it comes to game collecting tips, and other video game related subjects. So if that is something that interests you guys, please do consider subscribing. But when you're going to subscribe, you got to make sure that you hit that bell notification button so that way you will be notified when I upload a video just like this. I hope you guys did enjoy the video, and I'll be seeing you guys next time.